Welcome, everybody, again. We love seeing how active you're connecting and doing businesses and accessing to our resources. As I mentioned a little while, my name is Maria Humpa, and I'm the head of community. I'm very happy to be hosting today's section on authentic luxury in collaboration with our partner, Cocccon, Crafts, and Loom. I consider myself privileged to work at Common Objective. I'm very proud to be part of this dedicated community and team, inspiring to lead and work towards a sustainable future. Today's session is going to include an amazing setup of speakers. We do have Tamsin Lejeune, our fantastic CEO, who has gathered more than 45,000 members committed to a common objective. She will explain about the key benefits about being part of this community and run a Q&A session with founder Prakash from Cocccon Craft and Loom, and also talking with pioneering ethical brand Ethical Kind, Lily Sean, on how to produce outstanding luxury fashion products. And last but not least, we have the amazing Ralph Goodstone on learnings about his years of experience in sustainable fashion production from major brands to pioneers. So what is in the agenda today? As I mentioned, we're gonna have an overview of the trends, thanks to our co-heads of partnerships. That will be Laurent. We will be going on a Q&A session with experts together with Tamsin. And you will hear from my colleague, Andy Shower Rogers, our head of suppliers, the introduction of each incredible supplier that is working with luxury materials. They will have a 60-session pitch and they will tell us about their companies. Right after that, we will prepare for more inspiration from these amazing suppliers by joining a breakout session. For this, our fantastic Ellie is going to teach you a little bit of how the tech works into joining the breakout session to then have an amazing interaction session with each supplier and finalize with a wrap-up session in the main stage room. Please tell us who you are, connect with each other, post questions in the chat, and don't forget that you have the capability at Common Objective to message each member. We have launched this amazing feature so you can connect with each other, bookmark your business profiles, and take action. And now I'm going to introduce to Tamsin so she can tell you a little bit more of the world of Common Objective.
Thank you, Marielle. Wonderful to see the people coming in the room from all over the world. So I know that many of you are already members of Common Objective, and we're now reaching over 45,000 people, hoping to increase that to 50,000 post-Expo. And why does having a network matter? We're all about how we can build win-win connections across the world. One of the reasons I think the fashion industry is unsustainable is because production is often so far from the place in which products are designed and created. So we're trying to bring the world together. And one of the ways we do that is to match you up. So when you sign up to Co, it'll collect a little bit of information about you. If you're already a member of Co, you can update your preferences. And I'd encourage you to do this as we're getting so many new members and businesses joining Co during Co Expo. You'll find that if your preferences are right, you'll get the kind of businesses and individual connections that you're interested in landing on your dashboard, automatically being matched with you. We also have over 300 resources. So if you set those preferences, you'll start to get information that solves your problems. So you can connect and message, as Marielle had mentioned earlier. We've just launched messaging on Co. We're quite excited about it. If any of you want to message us, please do. You'll certainly get a rapid response. And you can message anybody on the platform directly. All you need is their Co profile. So on the right, this is partly why we encourage everybody to say who they are in the chat, because you can all save the chat at the end of the session. You just click on the 3 dots at the bottom of the chat box. And that means you can connect with anybody, type in their names on Co, and you can find them. You can also create a business profile. So you'll see that that all of the suppliers that we're showcasing today have a business profile on Co that represents who they are and what they do. You can connect with anybody on their team through that business profile. And you can also see what they're doing in terms of products, in terms of sustainability. The thing that really excites me about our business profiles is that we have an algorithm on Co that measures how highly they're ranked. So the more sustainability information you put on your profile, the more committed your business is to best practice, the higher it will rank on the site. And this really matters. Our top 20 highest ranking businesses get 2,700% more views than the bottom 20. And it's part of our mission to turn sustainability into from a cost to an opportunity. If you're operating sustainably, you should have more customers, you should do better commercially. That's our goal. And again, to mention, we have a lot of resources. So if you have questions, type in the keyword on Co, you might find an answer. I'm going to pass back to Laurent, who's going to take you through some of the key trends relevant to this topic today.
Great, Tamsin. Thank you so much. And thank you as well, Marielle, for this beautiful introduction. My name is Laurent. I take care of partnerships at Co, and I'm delighted today to present some of the trends that we have in the authentic luxury bracket. Again, for everybody who just joined, if you haven't shared yet who you are and what you do, please do it now. The chat is getting very, very busy. A lot of people introducing themselves, posting their Co profiles. But enough about Co. Let us start with luxury sales and how they have bounced back, luckily. So despite tough trading conditions over the last year, the luxury sector is bouncing back, as already said. Kering's first quarter results show that revenue has returned to pre-COVID levels. And compared with the first quarter of 2019, revenue increased even by 5.5%. Likewise, luxury retail platform Farfetch gained 900,000 customers in the first 2 quarters of 2021 and saw revenue soar by 64% in 2020, reaching 1.7 billion. But for small, though well-established sustainable brands such as Mara Hoffman, the pandemic hit hard with large-scale cancellations from wholesale customers. Small independent brands were faced with having to offer discounts to retailers just to make their orders, and I'm sure some of you can very much relate with that. This has seen some fashion brand like Hoffman's reevaluate the business strategy and move away from wholesale and instead focused on direct-to-consumer DTC sales. That gives them more control. We expect to see more luxury brands and sustainable brands in particular make the move away from wholesaling in a bid to maintain sustainable and ethical standards in the supply chain. And Mara Hoffman has also spoken about her desire to scale back as a business, quoted in Vogue Business as she said, "We've had this success idea as being about more and more and more. Now I see I was drunk in that space and for what it wasn't providing this gorgeously fruitful experience." We are seeing the nascent signs of post-growth theory being put into action at the luxury brands too. Vivienne Westwood made 37% reduction in its ready-to-wear line and 58% to its shoe collection over the last few years. British design duo Tatum Jones has also reduced its SKUs by 60% since 2016. And despite extremely challenging year, there were many feared that sustainability, not just in fashion, but more broadly, would be abandoned in the pursuit of the economic recovery. It is inspiring to see global brands continue to push forward with their sustainability plans. Live 360, for instance, was launched by LVMH last year, and the new sustainability roadmap, which details targets for the next 3, 6, and 10 years, deepens the luxury brands group's commitment to sustainability and enshrining new targets and timeframes, such as removing plastic from all its packaging by 2026 and only renewable energy in its own sites. Crucially, they're now tackling emissions in their supply chains and transportation and moving beyond that their direct emissions. It is also pursuing regenerative agriculture, pilot schemes, and looking at embedding circular systems to upcycle and recycle its goods. And by the way, quick side note, if you're really about upcycling and recycling, especially in packaging, for instance, make sure you check out the latest video of the session we had yesterday afternoon. LVMH has also announced just 2 weeks ago that it's planned to open a global research center dedicated to sustainable and digital luxury sometime between 2024 and 2025. And the Caring Group finally continued its commitment to tackling biodiversity with launching the Caring Regenerative Fund for Nature in January this year. Launched in collaboration with the Conservation International, the fund will provide grants to farmers, NGOs, and key stakeholders who are the front lines of developing and scaling agricultural change on the ground. Also to add, if you haven't checked it out, please do visit the Biodiversity Hub on Co. It is sponsored by Caring, and it is an invaluable source of resources and insights. And with that, I pass on to Tamsin to do the Q&A.
Thank you, Laurent. Wonderful overview. So today we're incredibly privileged to have three very expert speakers in the room. We have Prakash, who is the founder of Cocccon, one of the absolute pioneers in this space, one of the very first businesses to pioneer piece silk, and now the broadest range that exists of that product available. We also have Ralph Goodstone, who has worked in the fashion industry for 50 years, from the biggest brands from M&S to luxury brands and new startups, and he really understands sourcing. And finally, we have Lily Chong, who works with Prakash on Cocccon. So we're going to learn about how that partnership worked and created this a successful brand with beautiful products that are also inherently sustainable. So I'd like to start with you, Prakash. If you could unmute your microphone. Could you tell us a little bit about Cocccon and what makes you stand out?
Namaste, everyone. I'm the founder of Project Cocccon. What makes us standing out is I started this project in the search of organic silk, but we really waited till the time we could make silk without killing any silkworm. That means it should be organic piece silk. And we had a lot of challenges. So, you know, like on the front of quality and slubs, we invested a lot in improving quality, and that made us really different, because that time there were already a couple of companies, either they were doing piece silk or they were doing organic silk, and both did not look luxury, you know. And being educated as designer, I went to fashion college in India and Italy, and I was not satisfied myself with the quality. So I rated till the time we don't have the best fabric. If I don't like this fabric, nobody likes. So for me, piece organic silk can only be luxury when it looks luxury. Aesthetic was very important for me. And that made me, you can see that's our success story, that our quality slowly. I mean, it's also wonderful clients who work with us. They also help me in improving my quality. So I would say there are many other things after quality. We were one of the first company in India to introduce bioenzyme ETP plants. So we have zero waste. One of the first company to have organic farming, regenerative farming without using any fossil fuel. We have solar powered irrigation system. And all the, like, some of the goals which came later through SDG, we were already performing, like gender equality was one of our first thing to do. And the community where what we took over, our silk farming community, they come from extreme poor, I mean, economically disadvantaged communities. Now, if I see it after 10 years, they look remarkably different. So, I mean, doing everything nice, but I see also improvement in terms of social aspect, improvement in terms of biodiversity. That is what makes me different than other sustainable textile fashion or fashion companies.
Thank you. I mean, having watched you over the years, I've seen a really creative and entrepreneurial approach to the challenge as well, finding ways to make it work and to solve the problem of the brands you work with. And just to mention that you can see behind Prakash, he's got some of his products. we will be having breakout rooms, one of which Prakash will be in, and at that point you'll be able to see more about the products and we'll see those. But in the meantime, I have another question for you. How do you work with brands to help them to achieve their goals?
Right, so they are well-established brands. They are startups, but by end of the day, I have feeling both these people are startup. Big brand who never did anything sustainable. They are just entering, so they are a startup. But my policy since beginning is to help real startup, because they start really correctly. They should start really correctly. They should not be part of any greenwashing, and I support them from small MOQs, or sometimes I have cut pieces for their sampling. I provide them small MOQs also in printing or dyeing, or sometimes if they ask me, I also do some of their sampling, design samples. So this is how, that's why my policy to nurture startups, and these startups in 5 years or 6 years, they become big company, and this makes everyone happy. And Lily Chong, Studio Pia, and there are many examples we can say.
I greatly look forward to hearing from Lily in a minute, but just before we go into that, do you want to tell us a bit more about some of the other brands you've worked with,
right,
and how you've supported them?
So the big brands, I think we met at through you, Vivian Westwood. I would always say they are remarkable in their strategy, and they are pioneer in sustainability. They are cool. Then Studio PI is cool, and then Tiziano from Italy is amazing. This one is startup in from Berlin, or I don't know, somewhere in Germany, Moon and Shine. They are quite good in like sleepwear. They might make beauty product, not just luxury, is also when you sleep, And of course, Saskia Hamann, one amazing German bridal fashion designer. Recently, we have collaboration with Chloe. They're also cool, very energetic team. There are many other brands are also in pipeline. Because of Corona, we could not go forward, but soon we're gonna announce big partnership. I'm not allowed to say now, but there are many. From Australia, from US, from every continent. There's some cool startup coming up in India as well,
Thank you so much. So I mentioned we have Lily Chong in the room from Ethical Kind, which is one of the businesses that Cocccon has worked with over the years, right from the very beginning. Lily, would you like to tell us a bit about your work with Prakash and what you've worked on with them, and why the company is so great?
Yep. Hi everyone, I'm Lily. I'm the founder of Ethical Kind. So Ethical Kind is a social conscious luxury sleepwear label. We launched it in 2019. And it really is kind of inspired by my own personal journey to promote also a very equitable and regenerative future, just from my own upbringing, with my own family heritage being silk farmers back in South China. So when I launched the brand, as Prakash was saying before, it was something, we wanted to be very ethical and kind right from the beginning. So when I was on this journey of looking, probably not too dissimilar with Prakash, looking at some ethical silk options, that we, we went to China, we went to India to find out what was available. And, I met with Prakash, and, I think one of the common things that we do share is our social entrepreneurship. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. It was really through that, as a startup brand at the time, was really to understand the process and the fantastic work that Cocccon is doing in terms of looking at the whole sustainable development, from the utilization to the workforce to the ecology to using natural resources, because that's a fundamental thing that I believe as a brand, that, as consumers, as a brand, as a designer, that we all can make choices that is, you know, harnesses a force for good. And I guess from my own upbringing, my mum's a garment maker. My great-grandparents were silk farmers. So I've seen some of the, you know, the rural communities and the hardship and the injustice perhaps you see and still see today, you know, from socially, culturally, and, you know, education side of things, where, you know, it's not reflected ethically or fairly, you know, from a production standpoint. So what we also do with Cocccon, we also give back. We give 5% of our kind of net profits to the local charity for the farms to support the kind of education programs for children, and looking at also that the whole kind of sustainable development. And I think, you know, as an ethical brand, you know, we're considered kind of, you know, everything from the ground up through our production to our distribution. So it's been a fantastic relationship. I think it's really shared from our you know, our passion to see that we can do good as brands, as designers, and as consumers.
Thank you. And you must have learned a lot along the way. I mean, how long have you been working with Cocccon now?
So since 2019, obviously the journey started before. So obviously we went out to India to meet with Prakash and his team and the farmers and the artisans that are there prior to the launch of the brand, to understand the processes and the steps. So I've been working with Prakash probably throughout as we slowly kind of develop our collection of pajamas, kimonos, sampling prints and color. So it's a committed and a long journey, in the sense, you know, it takes time, you know, as Prakash already said, in terms of the development size, getting the colors that we want, and, you know, and it's been great. You know, we, as a startup, you know, it's very conducive in terms of, you know, the quantities that we do as a brand, because I think, you know, as an ethical brand, it's important that, you know, we're still a business, and having suppliers that can support that model, it's a kind of, you know, it's a win-win kind of relationship, you know, as we grow, they grow, and so forth. And I think that's important to enable kind of sustainable brands to be able to go the long haul and meet the challenges that obviously we do face today.
And what are the things, can you share for, for the audience, what are some of the key things you've learned, and any recommendations to others in the space looking to create products that succeed?
Yeah, I think from a brand standpoint, certainly from my personal kind of learnings, I think it's very, you know, when you're doing any business, it's a challenge, you know. So I think you need to understand, you know, what your brand values are, you know, what your principles are, you know, what makes what makes your brand. I think that's very key, you know, to go through the ups and downs of running a business. And secondly, I think it's important to really have a good understanding who your kind of like suppliers, distributors, manufacturers, and build that relationship, you know, having a very common shared value. I think that's very important, you know, and having that understanding. And thirdly, I would probably say would be how you communicate. You know, it's important as a brand to be able to communicate your brand, what you stand for. You know, there's still a lot of people, many consumers are unaware of maybe what organic pea silk is. You know, there is not just the aesthetic of it, there is something behind the scenes and from a educating piece as well. So I think it's important that, you know, there's that transparency, there's that accessibility for consumers to brands and suppliers. So I think, you know, they're all kind of key elements, you know, that we continue to kind of develop and establish as well.
Thank you. Prakash, do you have any final points to make on Cocccon before we move on to Ralph?
Yeah, during listening to Lilia, it made me emotional, because see what happened, like this sustainable fashion business is like family, you know, very unlike like if you go to conventional fashion week or something where everybody's enemy, one should not know each other. And this community helped me a lot also to grow my business, also good times and bad times. I mean, last year when this hard lockdown happened in India, you must have seen how, you know, migrant workers were coming and going, and then we received a lot of kids from other cities in our village because villagers were working somewhere else. And all of a sudden we have hundreds of kids and without education or something. And me and Lily, we sat on WhatsApp and what should we do? And with kind of her, she funded one of our first school, what we did, So, and also during we made a makeshift hospital during the second outbreak in India. So she's helping, like, she takes not just me, also, I mean, she met also our farmers, she met also weavers. So she feels like she's also part of family. And my team also, they feel like she's part of family. And she felt her responsibilities and she helped us to come out of that. Thanks, Lily. But there are many other brands also, they helped during that, but Lily's here, so came in my mind, So we grow together this journey. We help each other. Sometimes I mimic, because organic silk, piece silk is something very new. And if people are comparing us with conventional or silk, which is really, it's also sometimes we have issues when people, they compare. We are trying to reach to that standard. We are almost there, So they help each other. You have this issue, we have to improve, like this happens. And each and everyone, especially Lily, has been also part of our development strategies. So because of her critics, because of her feedback, we are growing every day. Thanks, Lily.
It is, and I think it's a real thing. I think, I think people have to realize that, the piece of fabric has, it takes a village to make, kind of thing, and the impact it has a very much a knock-on effect. And, having seen that personally through my own upbringing and seeing it through the community that, where back in your hometown, I think that it's really, I think that what drives us, I guess, if I were to say, what make us kind of get up every morning, get up every day to kind of promote what we're doing. So it's a really, it's rewarding, I think, as a business owner.
So inspiring to hear you both, and we've had some great comments on in the chat also. A thread that's been running throughout Co-Expo. The opportunities that can be created through collaboration, the change that can be catalyzed through connecting the right people with the right people who have a common objective. And so I hope we can do much more of that throughout today and to follow. And I'm now going to pass over. Thank you so much, both. I could now pass to you, Andy, and we'll hear from some of the supplier exhibitors in the room.
But I've got the delight now to introduce you to our exhibitors for this session. All of them are part of the co-community. All of them deliver sustainable products and services to the luxury fashion industry. And it would be fantastic if some of the collaborations that have just been talked about, if more of those could start today as a result of brands here being introduced to these suppliers. So if we make a start with Modespitze Plauen, who specialize in sustainable creative embroidery and lace. Then if we can have their slide up. Great, thank you. So Modespitze specializes in sustainable creative embroidery and lace. They have low MOQs, they're a co-award winner, and they're GOTS certified. They're working to achieve CO2 neutral production by the end of 2023, and they've actually already reached over 90%. So it's my delight to introduce you to Andreas Reinhardt, who heads up this great business.
Hi, this is Andreas from Modespitze. And you hear me? Okay. So I just introduced our small company as family-based. So we do that in fourth generation since now 124 years. So we are specialized in embroidery on any fabric ground, as well as embroidered chiffon lace without a visible ground. And here we are focused since 2015 on sustainable qualities. So going back to the natural fibers like silk and cotton mainly. And yeah, what we do is we offer something is sheer, is transparent, making sustainable collections also with a special look. Everyone knows that from the wording lace, but we do not produce knitted lace or woven lace or something like this. So it's embroidery based. And since 2-3 years, we have a stronger focus on bridal wear collections. Here we offer the main part of the collection without any minimum, so 1 meter is okay. You can get swatches and so on. And embroidery is also flexible, but you cannot produce it in mass on rolls. So you always have the frame base. It's like 25 square meter is a minimum of the machine. And we can work with the clients. So someone want to have own designs, or they want to have our designs on their already well-established ground fabrics. So this could be a tulle, mesh, wovens, or jerseys, knitted fabric. So everything is possible. But our base collection that we offer is embroidered chipules made in organic cotton, in GOTS, or tulle, embroidered tulle, also GOTS 100% cotton, or we use very nice transparent piece silk organza from Cocccon. We heard about it just a minute before. And there we can also work with client, with the idea of our clients more easily. So this is something about the products. We sell that mainly in Western Europe, but also to the main markets of France and UK, some Scandinavian countries, Switzerland, but we also sell to US, Canada, Australia, and Japan.
Andreas, I'm going to have to interrupt you. I am so sorry.
Okay.
Fantastic information. So what's going to happen, just so everyone knows, after this, in a few moments' time, we'll go into breakout rooms. And so Andreas will be in one of the breakout rooms. And to find out more about Modespitze, you can go into that breakout room. And there's also a link in the chat, which if you click on that, that will take you to their business profile with a lot more information as well. Thank you, Andreas. That's next up. We've got Pezzetti, who are based in Italy, and they've been producing high quality linings for the fashion industry for more than 75 years. They have large quantities of available stock. They offer digital printing, and they've developed a range of new antiviral and antibacterial linings. Their certifications include GOTS and GRS. There is no one in this room right now to talk more about them, but we will post a link in the chat. So please do check them out and connect with them through their business profile. Next up, we've got Thermor, who were founded in 1972 in Milan, and they're a worldwide leader in the research, production, and marketing of thermal insulation for apparel, with operations in Europe, USA, and Asia. And Clarice is here, and she is going to share some more with us now.
Hello, everyone. I don't know if you can hear me well.
Perfect.
So Thermor is a higher quality branded thermal insulation product based and born in Italy since 1972. It is well rooted since a long time in the area of sustainability, and many of our products feature a partial or recycled content. And for the Sea of Fair, we are sharing both of our collection, the rolled one and the free fibers one. Recently, last month, actually, we have launched our novelty regarding the free fibers family, and the name is EcoDown Fibers Genius. It's a product 100% recycled from PET bottles from the ocean all over the world, and it's GRS certificate. When it's used in the garment, the particularity of this product is that allows the fibers to intertwine together, thus creating an even and stable layer, like it's a second insulation product. And this specifically engineered structure of fibers minimize cold spots and clumping, and is the only product that we created and we thought about that after 2 cycles of washing cycles, it becomes 10% more warm.
That's very cool. Thank
yes.
you. Thank you very much. That's brilliant. Superb. So next up, we've got Threads of Peru. And Threads of Peru provide opportunities for artisans, particularly women, to earn an income while continuing to live a traditional lifestyle and to care for their children. They thrive on combining modern design with traditional techniques to create gorgeous, high-quality pieces, and they offer a genuine connection to the people and culture of the Andes. So Ligia Gomez will now, in 60 seconds, tell us a little bit more.
Hi, everybody. How are you? So we are a nonprofit based in Cusco, Peru. We're working currently with over 100 artisans in 7 different communities around the Cusco region. So all our products are handmade in backstrap looms. Also, we use natural materials. So it's alpaca and sheep wool at like 100% pure fibers and natural dyes. So all our products are naturally dyed with plants, roots, tree barks, and bugs like cochineal. So the main focus of our organization is to preserve the tradition of weaving and natural dyes in the Andes, along with empowering indigenous artisans and provide an opportunity for supplementary income for weavers in the region. And with these, we hope that, as we mentioned, to preserve their traditional lifestyle and allow them to stay in their communities, and hope to inspire the next generation, their kids, to continue learning and promoting this heritage.
Brilliant. I look forward to hearing more in the breakout session, and great to see the products behind you as well. Next up, we've got Masala Threads. Masala Threads work with brands to create completely ethical supply chains from start to finish. All their suppliers are checked and vetted, and they partner with a charity that rescues women from sex trafficking. They aim to assist clients who genuinely care about ethical and sustainable practices and support them every step of the way. And so now we're going to hear some more from founder Dawn Schuster.
Hi, thank you. So yeah, like you said, we help brands every step of the way with sourcing organic and recycled fabrics. We have the very special fabrics like orange peel, lotus, eucalyptus, Ayurvedic fabrics, printing and dyeing with artisan techniques like block printing, hand dyeing. We also help with the design process, with mood boards, inspiration. And we work with all ethical factories and charities empowering women. We also do luxury photo shoots in incredible locations across India, and also eco packaging and organic labeling. And we're also working on a new scheme, which is taking the scraps of fabrics and turning it into paper and card for packaging, which is also exciting. Thank you.
Superb. Thank you, Dawn. That's brilliant. Next up, we've got Supplier. They're a knitwear manufacturer established in 1993, and they're equipped with state-of-the-art facilities. They serve a wide international customer base, including renowned brands, chain stores, and collection producers with a production capacity of 20,000 pieces per month. I don't think Amanda Zhang is in here, but Amanda, if you are, could you unmute now? Okay, moving on to Marasim. So with Supplier, please click on their business profile, check them out and connect with them that way. Moving on to Marasim. Briefly, I'm going to mention them. Marasim partook in the new artisanal session on day 3, but also very relevant to those of you operating in the luxury market. They discover unique artisans, uncovering rare, rich textile making, embellishing and farming practices, which were previously thought long lost to time. They borrow inspiration from the past, get creative, and build a new design with designers to make a unique work.
Thank you all. Thank you to all the exhibitors. So we have 2 breakout rooms in this session. The first one is Pioneers. And in that session, you can find Cocccon, so meet with Prakash of Cocccon, and Le Cashmere, so learn more from Ralph, and organic lace, so that's as well as 2-ply if they join the space. In the second breakout room, we've got innovators, so you can connect with the thermal and find out more about that product, threads of Peru and Masala threads.